TheZenWitches, blessed be and welcome to my channel that has been on hiatus for the better part of a month. I'm getting back into the swing of it with an unboxing, and this time I'm going to shoot it with my microphone on. Mercury is still retrograde, and so I didn't do all of the double checks that I should have done. The deck that we're looking at is a gift deck, and I thought what better way to kind of reboot unboxings than with a deck that I received from a dear friend. Whoops, just lit my candle. My dear friend Samantha. It's called The Flower Speaks by US Game Systems, and this is an older deck. Let's take a look. Flower Speaks. Awaken the flower song in your soul. The 52 Flower Speaks cards are powerful stimuli for meditation, healing, and bringing about positive change in your life. We've got the barcode. The Flower Speaks, created by Marlene Rudginsky. And then we've got the US Games thing here. Do we have? And we don't have a copyright date on the box. But on the back we see action and tiger lily. Let's zoom in and take a look. A little bit more, I think. All right. So just a regular little flip box. And we have the LWB. Let's take a quick look at that. Let me see if this will help. Not much. It's a very bright day today. The Flower Speaks, a guide to flowers and their essences, created by Marlene Rudginsky, and in parentheses it says water spider. Got the beautiful lotus here. The copyright on this is 1996, so way back in the beginning when I first started reading and getting decks. I dedicate this work to the seed within each of us that yearns to see the light. So we will, let me read the introduction. All the wildflowers of the forest, all the lilies of the prairie, when on earth they fade and perish, blossom in that heaven above us. Hiawatha by Longfellow. Since times of old, flowers have been assigned to the different constellation of stars. Flowers have been assigned to the different constellations of stars. The ancients knew well that the movements of the plants corresponded to the movement of the heavenly spheres. It is interesting, too, that the only difference between the word plant and planet is the plane of its being. In Watch Your Dreams by Anne Ree Colton, she writes that every person has a physical flower correlating to his natal sign, and he has a spiritual flower that correlates to his light stream and his sacred name. Through continued meditation and alignment with his higher self, his spiritual flower will be revealed to him. When I first read these words, something deep within me was stirred, and I began the quest for the flower that sang to my soul's vibration. By reflecting on the intent of each flower and its service to mankind, I began a journey to find my inner soul flower. And from this magical journey arose The Flower Speaks. I always felt the presence of angels preparing the way for me. It was as if the many feelings I had were like strands on a loom through which they moved, weaving together the dreams of the night with the visions of the day. I saw my body as a loom and the weaver as my higher self. The drawings that drew themselves became flowers that spoke, and I knew that an old song was born. And we have another quote. The flowers woven through the strands on this loom represent one tiny piece of the big blanket. There are infinite strands of perception, as there are infinite myriad looms. We each have a part to weave. Let us unite with the weaver within, so that one day the big blanket will be done. And that's by Water Spider, which is Kananeski Amayehi. Okay. It's comprised of 52 cards, including 22 flower arcana, 18 element cards, 5 energy cards, and 7 guidance cards. All right, let's just go through. I might need to white balance a little bit here. Hold on. Turn the brightness down a bit. That helps. All right. Let me bring you in just a bit closer. It's so difficult when it's such a bright day out, and I mean we've still got total snow cover out there, and there we go. So it's very bright, but interestingly, it washes out the color. So hopefully those adjustments helped a little bit. Maybe this will help even more. You know, one would think after a couple of years of doing this that I might work all this crap out before I hit the go button, but I don't. All right. It still looks kind of washed out. Sorry for all the futzing around. Okay, maybe bump the contrast a little bit. Okay, let's see. The Flower Speaks, A Guide to Flowers and Their Essences, created by Marlene Rudginsky, Water Spider. There's the backs. Oh dear, looky. So these must be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These must be the 7 guidance cards. The rest of them have the same backs. Okay, so the guidance cards clearly are different. Each flower has a song, and awakening to its song will take us back to our true home. Flower Speaks deck comprises 52 cards, 22 flower arcana that relate to the major arcana of the Rider-Waite decks, tarot decks, to bring a deeper awareness of flower energy. 18 element cards that relate to fire, water, air, and earth. But you can't divide 18 by 4, so I'm very curious. Assuming maybe fire and water will have the extras. Busy. Okay. To correspond with the forms of our lives, 5 energy cards that address changes and waves in our emotional lives, and 7 guidance cards that point to a particular area in one's life that needs guidance. All right. So let's start off with 0, corresponding to the Fool, and this card is Trust. The flower is the white rose. Looking at the art style, pardon me, it's very soft, done with pastels, it seems, and soft but dimensional. There's, nice shading. We've got plant materials coming out into the borders here. We also have down here the symbol for Uranus. And we've got several eagles. And you've got the reflection here of the World card, that kind of, egg. Interesting, because it really doesn't look anything like the Fool card in images. Concentration is for the Magician. And we have Mercury and Daffodil. Now there's the dog. This looks more like the Fool card. The only thing that really echoes the Magician is the one hand pointing up and the left hand pointing down. But concentration certainly does apply to Magician meanings, and trust certainly does apply there. So good keywords. Receptivity for the High Priestess, and we have Water Lily, and look at the cats. Oh, with the moon. Oh, hold on. I'm seeing something, Marlene Rudginsky, like an ML there, and I don't see it on the other cards. I was wondering if it was a signature. Yes, it looks like a signature. Okay. There's Lotus, which a lotus is a water lily. Desire for the Empress, Rose and Venus, of course. Look at the snake. Clearly pregnant, so definitely echoes the tarot. Truth is for the Emperor, and we have a clearly Native American figure here with an owl on his shoulder. Hawkweed and Aries. Inner hearing is the Hierophant, Calla Lily, and the symbol for Taurus. And she's got a moon here, so this is very much a departure from the normal Hierophant. Ideas is the Lover's card. Ideas for the Lover's card. That's really interesting. They've got crowns of, well, it's blackberry. They have like blackberry crowns here. And there's the symbol for Gemini. Fertility is the Chariot. Fertility for the Chariot. These are pretty interesting and kind of pretty out there. Pomegranate is the flower, and we've got the symbol for Cancer. The symbols are done in kind of like a wildly different fashion, different font even, which doesn't really matter at all. Will is the Strength card. And we have the sign for Leo and Dandelion. And Dandelion, if you didn't know, in French is Dent de Lion, D-E-N-T, de Lion, lion, which means lion's teeth. It's also known as pissenlit, which means piss the bed, because it's a diuretic. Okay, so there's the Strength card, and then we have the Hermit, Sage, and Virgo. With the, like a puma there, it does really echo the Strength card. Then we have Wisdom for the Wheel of Fortune, Daisy and Jupiter. Relationship is Goldenrod and Libra. And then we have the Hanged Man is Illumination. And it's Sacred Datura. We have a Datura plant out back. It's an amazing thing to watch bloom. These tightly coiled flowers, and they just unfurl into, they unspiral. It's amazing. A dragonfly there, clearly meditation. Transformation, here's the Death card. Black Iris. Oh, I used to have some black irises out front that were just fabulous. They looked like, they were actually very dark purple. Looked like black satin in the bud, and then they came out with these cobalt blue beards. They were amazing. You see a crow there. Inspiration. 14. Where are we at? Temperance? Iris and Sagittarius. And then we have the Devil card as Initiation. Christmas Rose and Capricorn. That'll be interesting to look up. In fact, I'm going to look it up right now because I'm very curious as to how that relates to the Devil card. Okay. Snow falls on an innocent child who sits in the light of a Christmas rose. A yellow bird carries a song of joy on its wings. Christmas rose speaks, my flower is of the purest light that blooms upon the whitest snow. Good grief. And yet my roots are blackest black. I say to you that darkness always wakes to a new dawn, and though the earth be frozen hard, new life still springs forth. Materialism. Interestingly, even though she talks about these being the flower arcana that reflect the tarot, she doesn't actually mention which tarot are being reflected. So that's interesting. Renewal is fireweed. So this is the Tower with Mars. Attunement, the star is Shooting Star and Aquarius. Then we have the moon. We can see a full moon in the back there, but it almost looks like daytime because the full moon's really big. Pink Yarrow, Pisces. Sun is leadership. Protection is what this one was. Am I skipping the keywords? Attunement. Protection is the moon. Leadership is the sun. Sunflower and the sun, of course, with a B. And then we have rebirth. Judgment is Black Cohosh. Pluto, absolutely a Plutonian card. And then the world is oneness. We've got the infinity symbol, upright, globe thistle, and Saturn. Okay. And then 22. All right. So these must be All right, now we're into Earth. No, no, no. My book moved. All right. Buttercup. All right, hold on a minute. There are how many major arcana? 22 flower arcana. But the first one is 0, so it's 1 through 21, and then we have 18 element cards. Okay, so these are the fire ones now. Fire, flowers, wands, Easter lily, and there is the symbol for fire, which is the upright triangle. Devotion. Then we have buttercup, self-esteem. Very fiery looking. We have bleeding heart, sacrifice. And action, tiger lily. And then we go to the water cards. There's the symbol for water. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So I'm trying to figure out, you know, the 18. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 fire. Fruition, mariposa lily, water, memory, forget-me-not. I do love the images. They're very soft and inviting. Healing is lady's mantle, and reserve is violet. And now we're on to air. Cosmos, expression. Angelica, transition. Peace is Star of Bethlehem. And morning glory is balance. And now we have a 5th. Larkspur, vision. I'm curious why there are extras of the kind of the lesser elements. Fire and water. That's going to drive me crazy if she never explains this, because fire and water are the main, you know, plane triangle upward for fire, plane triangle downward for water, and the air and earth ones have the line. So I'm just very curious. Okay, vision is larkspur, and now we have earth, groundedness, corn, acceptance, pansy. Beautiful. Look at the crone. And there's a lion and a horse and a dog, or a wolf maybe. Inner calm is white clover. Redemption is trillium. Look at the robins and the eyes. And abundance is orchid. All right, now we are into the the 5 energy cards. Oh, these are aspects. That's the symbol for conjunction there, a circle with a little thing sticking off. Rose and lily, 0. It says 0 degrees. So this is telling us what the aspect, how many degrees is the aspect, and what it means. It means union, conjunction is 0 degrees of separation. Then we have a sextile, 60 degrees, aster, creative change. I like that description. Usually, you know, I was taught to see sextiles as creating opportunities, but creative change is a very good way to state that. Then we have a square, 90 degrees, resistance, dandelion and chamomile. We have the trine, 120 degrees, rose, and it is flow, absolutely. And then vervain for the opposition, 180 degrees, confrontation. Yeah, I love the way they've described, like resistance, because, you know, squares and oppositions are stress aspects. The squares are internal. It's conflict inside. So resistance is a great word. You know, I'm resisting something. And then confrontation is the opposition. And then we have these 7 guidance cards. Potential, Seed, Saturn. Foundation is Root. By seed and root, by stem and leaf, by bud and flower and fruit. Let's see if it goes. Root is foundation and the moon. Stem is sun, support. Leaves, communication, Mercury. These are lovely. Flower, beauty and love, Venus. Pistil and stamen. That's better than bud and flower. Flower and gonads? It wouldn't sound as poetic. We have both Mars and Venus here with the pistil and the stamen. The male and female gonads. And then fruit, Jupiter, expansion. Lovely. Now, let's see how we go about these. Let me zoom you back out. I wish there was a quicker way for me to do this bit, but there isn't, so, you know. Y'all ought to know when you come from my videos that we're not going to be speeding through things, so. Okay, how to use the cards. The Flower Speaks cards are powerful stimuli for the healing of our emotional bodies. By reflecting on the cards, one can tune into the energy field of the plants themselves. Each card promotes a healing of some aspect of your life and can be used most effectively to bring about positive change. I encourage you to be creative with the cards. I've used them as vehicles for inspiration and meditation, for readings, as tools for choosing flower remedies, and as a guide to selecting flowers as gifts or for planting in my garden. And then it has as a psychological tool, as a meditational tool, as a tool for flower giving and garden planning, ceremony and affirmation, as a flower essence tool. So if you're into Bach flower essences, essences and astrological transits. Flowers can be worked with by those of us who use astrology as a tool for growth and understanding. Hard aspects such as squares or oppositions are felt more readily in one's life simply because of their challenging natures. By working with your chart and observing an oncoming transit that could be perceived as difficult or growthful, one can prepare in advance by taking flower remedies to facilitate the transition. Okay. Some astrological indications are suggested with each card. However, these can be added to through personal experimentation and understandings. They can also be used in readings. Use any method or spread that works for you or create your own. Likewise, select cards for the reading by any process that feels comfortable. The flower, its element, its tarot correspondence, if any, but you don't tell us what the correspondence is. Oh, I guess we do. The Fool. Okay. So I'm going to go back here to 15, under interpretation. Yes, the Devil and the Tarot. So under the interpretation section, it does mention the Tarot. All right. Keywords are listed in this booklet. These can be added onto as you develop and record your own personal understandings. Guidance cards can be pulled later as further understanding or confirmation. Okay. So we're going to leave the guidance cards out. There. Let's set those aside. And then it just goes right into a reading, or right into the meaning, sorry. Let's go all the way to the back. There are a few pages for notes. It would be nice. Okay, let's see what it says about guidance cards. Actually, let's see what it says at the beginning of each section here. Flower Arcana is made up of flowers whose energies reflect the major arcana in Tarot. For deeper understanding of the archetypal ideas expressed in each flower card, one can refer to the major arcana in the BOTA. What is the BOTA? Hold on. I should know this, but I don't. Or the Rider-Waite meditations. Okay, I'm waiting for a browser to frickin' open. Onward. And then let's go to the elements. Fire flowers relate symbolically to spirit and the element of fire. They're known for their vibrant color, prickles, thorns, and blistering juices. They represent man's individuality and the challenges of his ego. They teach about the importance of sacrifice. Still curious as to why we don't have the same number of each element and why she gave the ones she did. Builders of the Addendum. Disseminates the ageless wisdom of sacred tarot and holy Kabbalah. Okay, so BOTA. I actually had never heard of that before. All right. So that's what fire's about. Water flowers symbolize the soul force in the feeling realm and relate to the element of water. They're known for their capacity to hold moisture. They symbolize nurturing, protection, and the origins of life. They teach the importance of building boundaries to contain our flow. Air flowers symbolize the thinking realm and relate to the etheric body and the element of air. The flowers are delicate and translucent, while their leaves are feathery with a tendency to comb or fan the air. Through the air, we are all connected with one another. Air flowers awaken us to how we form our world with our thoughts, where we lose our focus, and how we scatter our energies. And then earth flowers symbolize the material realm and relate to our physical bodies and the element of earth. The flat, often dense leaves can grow close to the earth, and the flowers can be nurturing like the earth herself. They help ground those who lack earth in their makeup or stimulate movement in those who have too much. Again, please explain to me why the main creative elements, that's what the fire and water elements are, is the main creative elements, why there are only 4 of those and there are 5 of the others. I want to know. All right, let's give a shuffle. Let's light our charcoal. Yowza! That sucker was ready to go today, boy. All right. Let's give a shuffle. And before I do, let's invite in our allies and ancestors, guides and guardians. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being with me today. Thank you for bringing your insight and your wisdom. And I invite you, boy, there's for a smallish deck, they're a little stiff, but they shuffle just fine. Let's do a little bit of a smoke cleanse too. As I said, this was a gift deck, so it has been in the keeping of my dear friend Samantha, who loves her decks as much as I love mine. And she's clearing house a little bit, so this was a gift, but I'm also going to purchase some decks from her as well. All right, and then let's have some ocean water to bless with all of the elements. By air and fire, may you be purified and charged. By water and earth, may you be blessed and made whole. And then I offer to the deck and to my guides the fire of Azrael, that we may bring the spirit of divination into this deck for my purposes, and also send blessings to the gifter, to dear Samantha. Bless you, my dear. If you come to my live stream reading, Samantha's usually there, SJW. Pay special attention to her suggestions because she's a gifted reader. All right. Shuffle again. I'm going to do 3 shuffles this way, and then we'll cut shuffle. And of course, we are asking our timeless question, which is, what do we need to do whenever you're watching this? Whenever you happen to come across this video, what do you need to do today in order to rise above surviving and into true thriving? Oh my goodness, they're flying out everywhere. So, what do we have? We have 5. So, let's just lay them out. Groundedness, will, and fertility. We'll start with 3, we'll bridge them, and then I'll probably take another one, or maybe one of the guidance cards for the last one. How about that? That sounds good to me. Okay. So corn, we can look right down here and see it's a downward pointing triangle with a little line. That is the symbol of water. If you get confused about which way the triangles point, think about genitals. Male is an upward pointing, female is downward pointing. So fire is up, water is down, air is up, earth is down. All right, so we have earth. And this is the number 35 card, and it's corn. So the first thing we need to do, and she gives under the meanings here the Latin names. She gives two different names. Maybe it's a family. I don't think she describes that. I didn't run across her saying that, you know, here's what you find in the meanings. At any rate, it says Zea, mice, and Gramine. A corn maiden blesses a moon basket of sun-filled gold and offers it to those who long and hunger on the earth. She is firmly rooted to the earth and crowned with stars. The red squirrel is her friend, Squiddle. Squiddle. I love the way English people say squirrel. Squirrel. Corn speaks, my name is Zea May, goddess of the noonday sun that shines halfway between the night and day. I am the sun that wears no shadow, for I wrap the earth around me to keep it from flying to the stars. Interpretation, sharing, responsibility, Virgo, caring for the earth and its creatures, stability, interdependence, earth, ceremony, and ritual, a living balance between work and spirit, and earth/fire. And then she gives reversed meanings, so we do allow for reverses. Inability to nurture one's dreams or ideas, sluggishness, losing oneself to spirit. And then we have the essence. Corn by FES helps keep our feet to the earth when we're expanding spiritually. It helps us translate spiritual experience into useful action on the earth. Helpful for those with an emphasis in Pisces or planets in the 12th house, Neptune moon, Neptune ascendant, hard aspects for little earth or for little earth in one's chart. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is ground. We've heard this message countless times. That just grounding ourselves in the present moment, for one, in our bodies, for two. Grounding is nothing more, if you've watched any of my prayer circles, you know this. It's nothing more than being present in your body, being aware of your body, not in your head, out in the future, out in the past, but being in your body. So the moment that you sit and think about your body and just bring your awareness down, and I'll always say feel your skin, the awareness of what's touching your skin, what sensations is your skin feeling, and that will bring you down into your body. That's the first step in groundedness. So the first thing we do is come into our body, look at the crescent moon here, and be aware of food. Another wonderful way to ground is to eat food. If you've ever fasted or you've had to go for a long time without eating, you know how spacey and unfocused you get. And as soon as you eat, your awareness comes back down into your body and you're grounded. So that's the first one. The second one here, pardon me, is the Strength card, Will. And you know what? I'm just thinking of something here that I garfed when I was talking. I realized I didn't have, relationship. Did I miss this card? Relationship, Goldenrod, Libra. That's the Justice card. Okay, never mind. Sorry, I digress. So Will, Dandelion. This is one of the major arcana. Officinale Terracaxicum Composite. The sun appears as a dandelion crowning the head of the lion and the man. A sun necklace crowns the heart of the man. The dandelion speaks. A wise king hears his people. the strength that flows from the lion's tooth, dent de lion, there it is, comes from understanding the true source of our power. The interpretation is strong will, leadership, creative power, balance between head and heart. That's vital. Spinal column. Strength in Tarot, Leo, one whose actions are in alignment with divine will, flow, ability to heal. So the next thing we need to do is get our will in balance and in alignment with spirit and in alignment with those around us and those who look to us for guidance, for support, for leadership. So we want to bring our will into balance. And I'm looking at kind of groundedness and will. We've got earth and we've got fire. And leadership, with the Leo symbol here, leadership, people who are true leaders understand how to follow. The best leaders are also the best followers when they're not in a leadership position, because they understand what leadership is about. So this is talking about the things that stood out to me here were balance between head and heart, and the spinal column being upright, being strong, having a strong backbone, and what that means, being able to stand up for yourself. Keeping your promises. Will is also about, if I say I will do something, then I will do it. There's no doubt about it. So we want to be grounded. We want to have our will in right alignment with spirit and not self-will, in other words, spending our creative energy just to feed our own egos, because that's a danger always when Leo comes in, that we can spend our will just to bring our own selves into the spotlight and into attention. Okay, then we have fertility, and this is right before. So this one is the Chariot. Punica, it's pomegranate, Punica granatum punicaceae. An Egyptian dancer pauses to show us the inspiration to her dance. She holds the fruit of the pomegranate. Below her, a scarab is surmounted by a cross-section of a flower. Okay. Pomegranate speaks. Know that the dance of the male and female principle within creates the world we live in. When one chooses to move to one's higher rhythm rather than the unconscious rhythms of his personal will, the dance is of beauty and the creation of God. So that kind of speaks back to here, that we move beyond our personal will and understand what leadership, the responsibility of leadership. I'm still trying to connect here, Chariot to fertility. So I guess what she's keying into here is the fact that the Chariot shows two horses or two sphinxes or two something pulling ahead, and in order to go ahead, both of those need to be in coordination. So male and female in balance, and that's where we get fertility. So the interpretation is a balanced expression of femininity, initiation into womanhood. Fascinating for the Chariot, desire to bear a child, nurturing impulse, and this is Cancer, emotional equilibrium, mother, moon in Cancer, the Chariot in Tarot, feminine creative drive, and stomach. I am still confused as to how the Chariot relates to all of this feminine energy. Generally, it shows a man driving the Chariot. The Chariot, to me, in Tarot talks about, it's a card of change, one of the many, different cards of change in the major arcana, but it means to me self-directed change, that you're in the driver's seat, you need to choose which way to go. Okay. So I'm going to say here, we've got this very feminine, this very masculine, and this talks about the balance between the masculine and the feminine. So being balanced between what we are willing to do and what we are drawing to us, what we are going to give birth to. Then we have redemption and abundance. Groundedness and will. Redemption. So when we use our will in alignment with spirit and grounded in reality and grounded in our body, then redemption is available. This is also an earth card. Trillium. Trillium erectum liliaceae. I think that's the family, is the last thing. A daughter of the darkness awakens to the dawn. She raises a trillium to the upper world as a promise of her return to the light. Trillium speaks, "Lo, I am Persephone, daughter of the earth, who knows both worlds. I've seen the dark, I know it well, and feel with feet anointed with myrrh, I tread lightly upon my mother's garment. My message is that darkness can and must be lifted up." Interpretation, a wake-up call, dark moon, Mars in Capricorn. Conception, seeing potential in a dark situation. Ability to glean wisdom from past hurtful experiences to create a better tomorrow. Seed stage, Persephone or Kore, crossing a threshold. Phoenix, owning one's personal power, letting go of the darkness within. Dark moon phase and earth fire. So, okay, so the, being grounded and having our will in alignment allows us to access those dark parts of ourselves and bring them back, to redeem them, to reclaim the energy that's been wrapped up in maybe denial or unexpressed grief or something like that. And that's where the redemption is. Now, between will and fertility, so we've got this very masculine will and leadership, and this one talking about balancing that with the feminine. And look from what comes from this: sunshine, fertility, and we have abundance here. Another earth card. So even though I shuffled well, the chunk that came out, we have 35, 38, 39. So we do have, cards in close proximity here. Cattleya Warscewiczki. Warsce Wiczii. Warscewiczki. Okay. Orchidaceae, a heavenly queen robed in a garment of green, gathers the bounty of the heavens and sends it on to the heart of the earth. Orchid speaks, "I am the door that ever spirals between heaven and earth. Open me, let the goodness of the heaven fill the innermost part of your heart. Let your feet be as suns upon the earth." Interpretation. So again, we get this connecting of inner and outer, this connecting of, forceful and receptive, this connecting of above and below. So this whole reading so far is really talking about how do we go from surviving into thriving? We reintegrate. We've been disintegrated. We've felt our foundations disintegrating. If you have felt yourself fragmenting or felt like you're just not quite solid anymore, you can't follow your own will through. You're losing potency that way. Your elements can kind of be disintegrating. This whole reading is talking about reintegration of all the parts of yourself, inner, outer, giving, receiving, above, below. All right, interpretation. Joy, cosmic love, Jupiter. Limitless bounty, meditation, iris among orchids. Dancer, gratitude, a benefactor, a gift may arrive in the mail. Hey, prosperity, and earth, air. So now we have redemption and abundance. So what happens here when we reclaim, when we do our grief work, when we do our shadow work, when we go into those dark places and actually move through the emotions, then we redeem that event. We put a purpose to the trauma that happened to us, even though those things are not deserved or meant or destined or, our purpose on earth. We put a purpose to those things by going in, redeeming them, and gaining some wisdom from them. And when we do that, then we have abundance. All right, let's take one of these at the bottom. just see what it says here. I'm feeling like I want another one of these. So let's do both. Let's go here. What is our guidance? There it is. Foundation. Of course it is, with all of these earth cards. 1, 2, 3. And we've got the 2 major arcana. And then we get foundation, which is root. Root. Getting to the roots of what's going on here. Now let's read this one. Energy cards. This is, oh, actually, no, these aren't the energy. These are the guidance cards. And we didn't get any. I mean, it might be interesting before you do a reading to take out the energy cards. Energy cards are significators of change. They represent changes affected in one's personality or environment, or in combinations of both of these. The degrees are synonymous with the angles or aspects used in astrology. Hard aspects refer to squares and oppositions, soft aspects to trines and sextiles. A conjunction can be experienced as hard or soft, depending on the compatibility of the planets or the flowers involved. The flowers illustrated in the energy cards serve as symbols of change. All right, we didn't get any of those. So we took a guidance card. These cards represent guidance from the flowers. The parts of the flower speak to us from the ancient wisdom that weaves through each segment of its growth. Choosing one of these cards can help us tune into that area of our life where we can best get help. If any word from these cards seems to stand out for you, follow it without any personal associations or pictures that subsequently come up. Your inner teacher will begin to use these clusterings to speak to you. Guidance can come in meditation, dreams, or life's events. So what this is saying at the bottom of this reading here is what we need to do today when you're watching this reading to help yourself the most is to go to the root of your issues. Go to the root of your gifts. Go to the root of whatever the matter is that you're dealing with, whatever you're struggling with, whatever you're looking deeply into. Go to the root of it. Where did this pattern start? Where did it begin? Okay, and I did want to take one more of these. Let's see if we get a jumper. Oop, we did. And we got one of the other ones. Yay! Okay, we got Pansy, and we got a conjunction. Yay! This deck really stepped up to show us what it does. All right. Let's go to Rose and Lily. A rose and a lily joined together in the hand of a master. Interpretation, change through union, combination of 2 flower energies within psyche or environment working together in harmony, an active energy that can affect internal psychological changes or external events in one's life. So, oh wow, she goes way into the reverse meanings. Let's see. Step outside of oneself to get an objective perspective on how certain energies are coloring and affecting changes in your personality or life. The energies may be incompatible with each other, making them harder to reconcile and difficult for you to understand. Pull 2 flower cards for clarification. So the rose and lily are used here as a symbol of change coming about through a harmonizing of 2 incompatible energies. Gesture of the rose, opening slowly from within out, is feminine, though its color is fiery and masculine. On the other hand, the gesture of the lily is masculine, yet its pearly white petals evoke the moon and the feminine. Okay. I think one more. Inner hearing, calla lily. Acceptance and inner hearing. I don't even know that I need to go read these 2 because the foundation and the root that we're doing here is we need to bring into union our acceptance of the way things are and our inner hearing. Earth, again, Earth, and Taurus. So Earth came out strong, strong, strong in this reading. Acceptance, certainly in this process of going to the root and redeeming our stories. It's about acceptance, especially if we're talking about stories based in trauma. Acceptance that it happened is important. There's no need to accept any idea that this was supposed to happen, or I deserved this, or, this made me who I am today. No, your resilience and your healing may make you who you are after your trauma. So acceptance that it happened, and then you let go of that part and start looking with what can I do? What do I need to do to heal myself? What do I need to do to reclaim and redeem my true self from this story? It's kind of like, how do I chip away the story itself and redeem who I truly am inside, rather than the person that the trauma forced me to be. And then we come to inner hearing here. And of course, this is the Hierophant. This is where you connect with spirit on a direct level and allow it to speak to you. Calla Lily speaks, "Beloved, know that you can call on me. I will surely speak when your ears are ready to hear my teaching. Do you see the butterfly? He carries my message on its wings. Intuition, ability to hear the sound of the voice, capital V. The Hierophant of the Tarot, Moon Initiate, Perseverance, Spiritual Teacher, Taurus, the neck and the right ear." Interesting, the right ear. This is receptive side. But anyway, I think it's a lovely reading. That, we can redeem our true selves from within our story. Once we accept the story itself, we can allow the details of that story to fall away. And the strength of our will and our groundedness and our balance between the masculine and feminine can carry us into this process of redemption, where we then find the abundance that is waiting for us. We're not a shattered individual that is irredeemable. There is true abundance available to us in our whole self. And union here is the key, bringing those disparate parts together, accepting the story so that story can shatter, and what we thought was shattered can come into union again, guided by spirit, by listening to spirit. So, wow, what an awesome deck. Thank you so much, Samantha, my dear. What an amazing friend she is, and what a very cool deck this is. It's different from anything else that I have in its structure. I mean, I've got other flower decks, but in its structure, she really does bring the astrological thing into it. And the one thing, I mean, she talks about Bach flower essences, but this isn't an herbal deck. So I'll get that out of my head. I'm like, she didn't talk about healing stuff, but yes, she did, in terms of Bach flower remedies, which I've never done any work with, but I know there are people that absolutely swear by them. But she does really bring everything else into a cohesive whole, and it doesn't matter if it doesn't really make sense, how she's interpreted the tarot. I mean, still Fertility with the Chariot is a poser for me. Doesn't matter. You can still get a great reading out of it. So thank you, Samantha, again. Bless you, dear. And bless you and thank you, too, for deciding to come hang out with me. And if you've hung out for this whole almost hour, especially thank you. And what I need you to do now is hit the like and subscribe buttons, but most especially to comment down below. Comments get my videos in front of more people, and I always appreciate that. So put your comments down below. I will reply to you. And I look forward to having a dialogue. I will see you for live streams on Wednesday nights and other things as I start kind of reclaiming the fragments of myself through this January to get back to doing my channel. There will be other things as well. Hit the bell so you know when they land, and I really appreciate you being here. I will see you next time, and until then, this is Luna. Blessed be.